Hi, everybody. This is Glenn Ackerman. Tonight, we're going to talk about healing and why you need healing, I need healing, everyone needs healing. You may have heard that word before, but we're going to go into that tonight as an important subject, especially with what everybody's going through now. So, when we talk about healing, what do we mean by that, actually? Well, in normal situations, when you talk about healing, most of the time it's like if somebody has something physical happen to them, like God forbid, if you break your leg, for example, you break your leg and that's keeping you from doing something. Now you sustained an injury, so you're laid up and you're unable to function normally in your life. So we all understand you've had an injury, something's happened to you, and now you have to recover. Now you're going to go through a process from being normal to having this injury to being laid up and now waiting during the process of recovery, not being able to do what you normally do. Now we're talking about physical right now. So anything physical that we're dealing with, whether it's something in a body part or a virus, for example, you get a virus, God forbid, but today there's record cases of the coronavirus all over the world. It's just nuts here. That's why I wanted to do this video about healing. So you get the virus. What happens? You get sick, God forbid, and then you're unable to function the way you normally do. There's a blockage, or there's an illness that jams up your energy. Now, you guys know that energy awareness training is my specialty. So I'm going to talk about healing tonight from an energetic perspective, from a way that I can fill you in, educate you, teach you a little bit more about the hidden worlds of energy, or at least the energetic worlds that we were never taught growing up, and how they mesh with what our experience is by what we're going through. Okay, so in that instance, you come down with with the flu or God forbid the virus, and you're laid up. You're unable to function. It interferes with your life. And hopefully you move through it. You go through the process of recovery, even though, it depends how serious it is. For some people, it's not serious. For some people, it's real serious. But whatever that is, you're going through the process where your life is disrupted, right? You go through a disruption and you got to deal with it. And all of a sudden, your focus comes from what you normally do every day, whether it's work and family and stuff, to this becomes number one priority to recover and heal and have every waking moment and everything that you're doing and the people around you to support the recovery process, right? Or the healing process. Okay, so that's the part that we're all aware of. Getting sick, going through the process, hopefully recovery. And as you know, even in stuff like going to the dentist, for example, you get some heavy dental work done. You're on meds, and it takes you maybe a day or two of being uncomfortable to recover from that. So I want to talk about that from an energetic and emotional place, because we've never been at a more important time in our country and in our history where we've needed to talk about healing on a lot of different aspects. Physical healing, emotional healing, energetic healing, healing of the body, healing of the soul, healing of the spirit. And this is really important to everybody. This isn't just somebody who, God forbid, has a broken leg, or somebody who's got a cold or a flu or something. This pertains to everybody, especially in our country in the United States, but around the world as well. of the healing and recovery process that we need to go through. So I'm going to cover a lot of different aspects of that tonight, and I think it's really important. That's why I'm bringing this to you live here on this evening, here on the video broadcast. So we've already covered the physical. Everybody knows about that. Something physical happens, you go through a recovery process and you get well. But during that recovery process, there's a disruption to your normal routine, to your normal life. And everything that you're doing when you're in recovery is influenced by that recovery. You know, if you're laid up in bed, you can't walk around, or you can't go to work, or you've got low energy. You're limited into what you can do, and it has an effect, and it has an effect on the people around you. It has an effect on your family and how they act, etc. So we've seen that with the COVID. Someone comes down with this, they have to quarantine. They have to separate themselves because their condition now is contagious, and they have to be, separated so they can recover without infecting everyone else. Okay, well, that's an important aspect that we're dealing with here. So by and large, all of us are dealing with the recovery. We're trying to recover from the COVID. We're trying to recover from this massive pandemic that's all around us. Well, first off, we're trying to prevent ourselves from getting it. And let's hope you're doing well with that you're able to keep that away. Now, in dealing with that, thank God most of us don't have it. We know it's around, but we don't have it. I want to move into the second aspect, because the title of this is Why You Need Healing, Why Everyone Needs Healing. And you think, everyone? Does everybody need healing? What do you mean by that? Well, that's what I want to be able to explain. So let me explain it. Hold on one sec. All right, let me explain that. All of us walking around now, we're physical beings, we're emotional beings, and we're energetic beings. And if you're familiar with my work, I teach a method called energy awareness training, which is the ability to recognize so much of the life that we lead as energy. And no matter what it is, whether it's relationships, whether it's money, whether it's health, no matter what it is, to be able to relate to it in energy. Why? Well, Nikola Tesla said, if you want to really understand the mysteries of life and how things work, then you'll start to look at the things you don't understand in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So he was saying that these things that we don't understand, these things that happen to us, these things that come out of nowhere, whether it's the viruses or whether it's emotions or whether it's the economy or whether it's any kind of condition that makes no logical sense, that you can start to identify that in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So in other words, there's a code to it. There's an energetic code to it. Okay, so in my work, what I do is I teach people how to see a hidden reality, the hidden reality called the hidden energies that make up everything that we're dealing with in this world. So everything that we see in the physical world is driven by factors in the non-physical world. Okay, if you can understand that everything's physical is driven by non-physical. Everything that is visible is driven by invisible. So we see, especially these days, we see so much of the whole world has been driven to new conditions and new ways to operate, by and large, with a virus that we can't see, with the naked eye. You can see it with a microscope, I guess, with a super, but by and large, you and me and the rest of the world, we can't see this. We can't see this virus. You look around, you can't see it, but it's still there. So this is an example of what I mean with the unseen influences and creates what it is that we see. And because it influences us, we have to take drastic measures and change the whole world, change the way we behave, change our freedom, change the economy, change everything. Now, this is also a factor, not just physically, but it's also a factor emotionally. And healing and recovery are very important in your life. And I'm going to explain why, because you've been doing it most of your life, whether you recognize it or not. So let's take the emotional aspect of healing. The emotional aspect of healing is, for example, with a loved one. All of us have had the experience of getting into an argument or a disagreement, or someone saying something unkind to us, or hurting our feelings, or being a jerk. And when that happens, that's like the emotional equivalent of breaking your leg, God forbid. There's an injury, but the injury is something that you can't see, but you can sure feel it, right? When you get your feelings hurt, when somebody says something unkind, when somebody's being nasty or a bully, that hurts. And we feel that hurt, not physically, but we feel it internally, we feel it emotionally. And it does the same thing that a physical injury does. It shuts us down. You notice when you have a big argument, let's say with your significant other, you have an argument with them and it's heated and you say things you wish you hadn't said, or they say things to you that are hurtful, that they've never said to you before, and you shut down. You shut down because there's been an injury. There's been an emotional injury there, and it affects you, right? Somebody hurts you, you can feel it inside. And if you don't heal it or make it right, what happens? It stays with you. Sometimes for days, sometimes for months, and in some cases for years, right? Can you remember somebody who hurt your feelings, years ago, maybe when you were a kid or a teenager or years ago, that when you think about it, man, you can still feel it, that thing that they did, ouch, you can still feel it. Wow, that means it's an energy inside you that's still having an effect. So that's what it means to be injured emotionally. Now, what happens in my teachings about energy is I teach the basics of new students. I teach that when energy is flowing, you have a tendency to be healthy, because healthy energy flows. Healthy energy is always in motion. That's when things are circulating. That tends to be a healthy energy, or a healthy, what I call a high vibration energy. High vibration energy, which is open, expansive, happy, joyous, abundant, creative. So when that's happening, things are moving, right? Things are flowing. Now, the opposite is when there's unhealthy energy. And unhealthy energy is stuck. It's not moving, or it's jammed up. Kind of like, a garden hose. You have a garden hose and you turn on the water, and the garden hose is the transmitter for the water. But if there's a kink in the garden hose, then the water isn't flowing and it's stuck, and you're not getting what you need. So when we have an emotional injury, getting ahead of myself, emotional injury, that means that there's a jam up in our energy. and you can kind of feel sometimes it's like ink in your veins, and you're just kind of like this, you're kind of shut down, you're contracted with that person, who hurt your feelings, or said something mean, or that you had a fight with. And unless that injury, which jams up your energy, which is the kink in your energetic hose, so to speak, inside you, unless that's fixed, it's going to have an effect on you, because it brings, hurt feelings eventually turn into anger, and eventually turn into resentment. And that's an energy that has an effect on your body. Remember what I just mentioned a few minutes ago? The unseen has an effect on the seen. The invisible has an effect on the visible. So when we have this invisible energy, you can't see it. You can't see anger. You can't see hurt feelings. You can't see resentment, but you can sure feel it, can't you? You can sure feel it inside. And that invisible energy has an effect on the way you feel. It has an effect on your thoughts. And it has an effect on your emotions. And thoughts and emotions are what drives your behavior. Good, bad, or ugly. Thoughts and emotions and feelings drive your behavior. And behavior creates the quality of your life. So you see how it all ties together? You think it's no big deal that that you're mad at so-and-so, or so-and-so hurts your feelings. And for a lot of us, we just stuff it down, and we say, they hurt my feelings, screw them, I'm not going to have anything to do with them, or I'm not going to speak to them, etc. Well, that's having an effect on you. What they did, or what you perceive they did, is going to have an effect on you and your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and your behaviors, which is going to create an outcome in your life. And the outcome is either one of two energies. It's either a healthy energy, what I call a high vibration energy, or it's a low vibration energy. It's an unhealthy energy. So what do you think anger, hurt, resentment is? Is it a healthy energy, or is it an unhealthy energy? Class? It's an unhealthy energy. That's right. And we know that energy always attracts more of the same. So when you're around people who are happy, when you're around people who are loving, who are positive, right, who are giving, that tends to make you more positive, more powerful, more giving, right? It attracts the same kind of energy. If you're around energy that's a low vibration or an unhealthy energy, pissed off, angry, with anxiety or worry, or avoiding someone because you're mad at them, that's a low vibration energy. That's an unhealthy energy, and that's going to attract more of that energy. So when we're talking about healing today, this is a very important aspect, because just like we know with the body, with the physical body, that it needs to recover, the emotions are not as obvious. And when you're energetically aware, the core of being energetically aware is we don't want any low vibration energy. We don't want any of it. We don't want any anxiety, stress, worry, doubt, fear, any of that. Why? Because that attracts more of the same. And that energy lowers your immune system. It threatens your health, right? When somebody's angry, or somebody's pissed off, your body goes into a place called fight or flight, which simply means that it unleashes chemicals. If somebody's mad or pissed off, or you're just you're in this anger state, or this fear or this worry state, it telegraphs to the body that you could be in danger, or that things aren't right, or that you could be threatened. So the body starts pumping chemicals all on its own. You don't even have to ask it. Your body is an intelligence that is reading your thoughts. Did you know that? Your body is an intelligence that reads your thoughts. And as it reads your thoughts, it sends messages to the rest of the body that says, we're either in a healthy energy, where we're going to create more of the good hormones, the good chemicals, the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, the endorphins, right? To make you happier, to make you healthier. Or it reads your thoughts and emotions to hear, we're being threatened. We're in a negative, low vibration energy. There could be possible danger. Start pumping out the negative chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol. Now, when I say negative chemicals, what does that mean? Well, these are chemicals that are not good for us in the long run. But in the short run, if we're in a place called fight or flight, like for example, you're in your room and all of a sudden a grizzly bear walks in the door, right? Your body's going to take over and say, "Oh, grizzly bear, danger." And it's going to start pumping chemicals that will allow you to either flee from the bear, freeze from the bear, or fight the bear. One of those three things. So you'll get an immediate charge. You've heard, an adrenaline rush, when people are in stress situations. You may have heard of that lady back about 30 years, a grandma back in the 50s, who she was with her grandson, and somehow he was playing in the pavement, and a car backed up and ran him over, and he was underneath this car tire, her little grandson, and this 76-year-old lady picked up the back of the car and pulled her grandson out from being under the car. That is a documented fact. She picked up the car, half the car, and pulled the grandchild out of it. Now, how did she do that? There have been studies have been done about her. And I've read a few of them, actually. And she was interviewed, and they said, how'd you do that? How did you, you're a senior citizen. How did you pull your grandson out? Where did you get the strength to lift the back of that car up? And she said, I have no idea. I can't even believe I did that. I don't even know. People say I did that, but I go, yeah, well, there's 10 eyewitnesses that watched you do that. What happened? Her body gave a quick jolt of super adrenaline that gave her super strength at that moment, unconsciously, to help her grandson whose life was threatened. So that's the kind of chemicals that get pumped into you when we're in a stress situation. Now, if we're not in a stress situation, what happens is when we're in a low vibration energy of anger or resentment, or like we're kind of seething, just kind of, we can feel that resentment and that anger towards someone who hurt us. We're still in a low level fight or flight. In other words, we're in the low vibration or the unhealthy energies. So what happens is the body secretes low-level cortisol and adrenaline. Now, cortisol and adrenaline are like battery acid for your body. It's not good for you at all. And it wears on your health. It wears on your immune system. You can look this up. Bad for you. So this is why it's so important. And when I teach people to become energetically aware, it's really important to be aware of the role of anger, resentment, stress, anxiety in your life. And it's important to clean that up, to heal from it. Now, in energy awareness training, we have a lot of different methods to clear that energy. And I'm mentioning that maybe make another video on that. It's too long for me to explain it right now, but the concept is whatever the the thought is, somebody hurt you, or somebody said something mean or nasty, or you're in an embarrassing situation where you can feel that big chunk in your body, you've got to be able to dissolve it and release it. It's not enough to avoid it. It's not enough to numb it, which is what most people do. You have a feeling you don't like, people numb it. What do they numb it with? They numb it with food. They numb it with alcohol. They numb it with movies or porn or sex or gambling or shopping or all of the other different things there is to do. But it never goes away. Remember that. It never, when you get upset, unless that energy is neutralized, that feeling of anger, of resentment, of hurt, unless it's neutralized, it doesn't go away. It just goes and gets buried inside you. And this is, not only my work, but it's being validated by the research of medical doctors and psychologists all over the world. There was a best-selling book. I may have it here. Yeah, I have it. Best-selling book on the New York Times. Best-selling is called "The Body Keeps Score" by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, which essentially says that our low vibration energy, intensive energy that comes from deep wounds or upsets or even traumatic events, they don't go away. Over time, they stay in the body and they wreak havoc over us. That's why you can remember something that happened to you in the second grade or the third grade or decades ago, 40, 50 years ago for some people. You can remember it like it was yesterday. You can, you take a memory of maybe you got embarrassed at school or something, you did something, or the kids laughed at you, or, you had somebody did something to you to embarrass you or make you feel small. Happens to all of us. And we can remember that as if it was yesterday. Remember that? Oh, yeah, I remember that. Well, if you have a memory of something where you still go, like that, that means that energy is still in there. And that means it's still wreaking havoc. And that's the power of energy awareness training, to learn the methods and the tools to heal yourself. That's why when I say everybody needs healing, it's because everybody's carrying around wounds of some kind. They could be physical, they could be emotional. But everybody's carrying stuff around, and it has an effect on your health. It has an effect on your well-being. And a lot of that can really affect your behavior. I had a good friend of mine years ago who was one of the youngest Holocaust survivors in World War II. He was in a concentration camp when he was a child, and we became friends. We were in a business together, and he's old enough to be my father, but we still became friends. And he was, he mentioned a lot that he was in those camps. And I asked him to tell me about it. He'd never tell me about it. I said, well, what did they do there? What did the Nazis do? And he goes, I can't even talk about it. He goes, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. I said, why can't you talk about it? He goes, because it's inside me so heavy that if I talk about it, I think I might die if I let it out. And I said, boy, I can see you're so stressed about it. I think that might happen to you if you don't let it out. And I was just learning about energy and energy medicine and energy psychology and how to and energy awareness back when I met him. So I didn't know what I knew now to be able to help him. So unfortunately, that stress, that holding down that negative energy of people who had hurt him emotionally, holding that down eventually did him in. And it lowered his immune system so much that he caught an illness and it got infected and went through all these health challenges and eventually passed away early passed away early, could have lived another 10 or 20 years. Why? Because he didn't move out and heal emotionally. So this is a message to everybody out there. All of us have been wounded, and all of us have gone through hard times, and all of us have had our feelings hurt. That's part of the human experience. Well, being hurt is part of the human experience, but healing is a part of the human experience too. And you don't have to carry around those old wounds anymore. You don't have to carry around those painful memories of what happened to you or what somebody did to you, or, sometimes life does it to you. Look at what life does. Think about the last recession. It was about 13, 14 years ago, where everybody got wiped out. I mean, all of a sudden, it's like what's happening now. Unemployment, businesses dissolving, chaos, calamity. Sometimes life just does it to you. And the poor people who get the COVID or have had members of their family having to deal with that. Going through this life is not an easy thing. There are challenges everywhere. And that's one of the things that I teach in energy awareness training. We were taught to grow up to think that life is a linear, right? That it's just one good thing after the other. You go to school, you get your degree, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, and you live happily ever after. You ever heard that term? Happily ever after. No such thing. Life isn't just a straight up. It's up, it's down, it's around, it goes up, it goes here, it goes there. And no one ever taught us how to deal with that. So when things are going great, we're prepared. There's nothing to prepare about. You just go with the flow. Yeah, good news. But when we face challenge, when things go upside down, when things happen that aren't pleasant to us and we have to deal with grief or loss or financial or health challenges, that's when life gets tough. And this is where your energy awareness training skills come in, because you can train yourself to be energetically aware and to know how to dissolve and release all the stuff that is a low vibration energy, is unhealthy energy. And that comes to my third way of healing, called energetic healing, healing your energy. Because every day our energy goes up and down, right? There are times when we're feeling fantastic, and there are times when things aren't going our way. And there are forces that are influencing us every day. We want to be influenced by the high vibration energy, by the good stuff, but more and more, especially nowadays, it's that negative energy. It's that low vibration energy that's trying to pull us down. And I was just watching the news about a half an hour ago, and the news was saying that the COVID is worse now than it ever was. Oh my God, the second wave's happening. They're talking about shutdown, talking about all this stuff. And you're going, oh my gosh, how much more can we take? Well, that is an energetic injury that needs healing. And that's something that we deal with every day. No one talks about it. But if you're energetically aware, you can feel that kind of punch to the gut, when you get all this wave of bad news. Well, the good news is that we can dissolve that, and we can let that go. And we can get fully present right here, right now, and use energetic methods to be able to get us back into the real reality. So what do I mean by that? That means that if you look around right here, right now, wherever you are, as bad as the news is out there, you're safe. You're in your house or your apartment, watching on your computer. You look around, there's nobody banging at the door trying to take you away. Right here, right now, you're good. And that's what you want to focus on. You want to focus on what's good. You want to focus on what you're grateful for. You want to take some nice deep breaths and let go of the chatter in your head. It's the chatter in our heads that drive us crazy. The voice inside us that says, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? Right? Drives us nuts. Well, in energy training, you learn how to turn that voice off. Wouldn't it be great if you could turn that negative monkey mind bully in your head off? Well, you can. It's possible to do that. One way of doing it is to get present right here. Instead of letting your mind hijack you, like, oh, what if this happens? What if this? I'm being hijacked into my head. When I let go of what's happened in the past and I let go of moving into the future and scaring myself, which is what the mind wants to do. The mind wants to play a horror movie of what could happen so it can pull you into low vibration energy. We don't want that to happen. We want to stay in high vibration energy. So getting present right here, right now is the first step to be able to neutralize the energies that we need healing from. So just to reiterate, we talked about 3 types of healing tonight. We talked about physical healing. That's obvious to most of us. We talked about emotional healing. How do you deal with the emotional healing? Well, you've got to find it in you when somebody hurts you to forgive them and to let go of your anger. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's why we use energetic principles in the training. That's why I call my work a training, because you got to train yourself to do what's normally not normal, right? When somebody hurts you, or offends you or hurts your feelings, the natural tendency is to shut down or to want to retaliate or want revenge. Well, that's going to bring more negative energy, right? So being energetically aware says, I don't want any more negativity. I want to move into the healing zone. So that requires not only the ability to let go and to forgive, but the ability, once again, to take control of your body, of your thoughts, of your emotions, and use specific techniques and methods to be able to do that. I got people calling me and it disrupts my broadcast. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, so I hope that's making that clear. Hold on one sec. Okay, so we talked about those 3 things. And the last thing is energetically aware. The ability to recognize that the invisible feelings, emotions, thoughts create the visible. So if you learn one thing from this video tonight, it's understanding this. What we see, what we're experiencing in the physical world, could be relationships or could be working with people, etc. What we experience is coming from non-physical, coming from energy, which consists of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Okay, so this is what it means to become energetically aware. And everyone needs healing. Everyone has experienced one of the 3 things that I talked to you about tonight. And it's okay. You're not alone. You don't have to keep carrying this stuff around. So for people who want more information about how to let that stuff go, how to resolve it, how to dump your low vibration energy, how to get rid of that maniac in your head, I encourage you to learn and investigate energy awareness training. You can contact me on Messenger for more information. You can check me out on YouTube. I have a whole video channel, or you can go to my site, energyawarennesstraining.com. energyawarennesstraining.com for more information. But I'll leave you with this last thought. If there was ever a time to become energetically aware, this is the time, because energy is affecting us everywhere. And right now we're in a big wave, a massive wave of low vibration energy, and it's having an effect on us. And the effect, if you don't do anything about it, is going to be negative, and it's going to take us into a low vibration energy. So we've got to be able to heal from that. We've got to be able to protect ourselves energetically. The last thing I wanted to mention, of course, is our country and the things that we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with the transition of one president to another, and there are people who are glad for that transition, and there are people who are hurt and who are resisting that and feel pain about that. And it's the same thing. That pain has to be neutralized and has to be healed. Because if you hang on to it, it's going to create more pain and more heartache and have an effect on your body. So this is the importance of healing. And I'm proud to call myself an energy and an emotional healer, in that I help people heal themselves. I help show you how to work your energy so that you can get rid of that resentment, so you can get rid of that anger, so you can get rid of that pain and move into a higher level of happiness, joy, and peace. And that's my intention for you and for this whole world. And that's why I do what I do. So I appreciate you being with me tonight. If you have any questions or want to contact me, reach out. Be happy to give you some more information. And remember, nothing changes until energy moves. So if you're in a situation, the way you're feeling, or you got something going on that you don't like internally or externally, nothing's going to change until you move that energy. And that's what energy awareness training is all about. Thanks for being with me tonight, you guys. I'll see you next time. If you like this and you got something out of this, please like the video, and I welcome comments, any questions or any comments about anything you've heard tonight, and please share it with people that you think could benefit from it. Thanks. This is Glenn, wishing you blessings and light until we meet again. Bye for now.